Live from Studio 5 in New York City, this is the News at 6.
Coming up next year, you'll probably notice cursing seems to be a lot more common these days, but the science behind using bad language suggests that's not always such a bad thing. We're going to look at what it says about people coming up next. And welcome back. Time now for our feature story for you. You know, chances are pretty good that something happened today that may have caused you to let out a few choice words. You know what I'm talking about, right? Well, it's something that happens to almost everyone, of course. And while some people find it unsavory, the research shows it can actually be healthy. A guest will join me in a minute, but first, Sharon Crowley takes a closer look at the science of swearing. All right, thank you, Sharon. Watch your language now, because we're going to be talking more about this with Rebecca Connor, English professor at Hunter College. Thanks for being here today.
It's my pleasure.
You know, we were talking about this before. I mean, bad language, swearing, it's been around for a long time, forever. But it just seems that there's more of it these days. From your viewpoint, why? How come it's happening?
I think there are a couple of reasons, Ernie. First, language itself has become more informal, so the way that we communicate in everyday ways has relaxed, and this allows for strong language, like swearing. Perhaps, too, it's an indication that socially there is more frustration, more exasperation. Certainly there are global and national reasons why this might be the case.
Yeah, but it seems that the language is more acceptable these days. I mean, we've relaxed, the rules for radio, television, and movies for a long time now. There's social media. All of these seem to play a part, don't you think?
Agreed.
Yeah.
It's the law of diminishing returns.
Yeah.
The more we use strong language, the less of an impact it has, which is ironic because these are the strongest words in our language, and yet they have less of an impact than they did a generation ago when, as you and I were discussing earlier, I told you my father rarely uses swear words.
Yes.
But his children, myself and my two brothers, use them not frequently, I would say, but we certainly feel comfortable using them when necessary.
Well, we hear a lot more of it. We know that. And the question, too, is how does this impact on our children? Because they're hearing it, and they're very young. And you know that those words are just bandied about everywhere. I mean, whether they're watching something or listening to something, it's there.
Yes. I think that children, and I will, this will not be new information to most of your viewers, they're sponges. They absorb what they hear us, particularly their parents, say. So I think if you really don't want your children to pick up that language, it's best not to, not to do it at home. They know the difference. Children are much smarter than we give them credit for.
They are pretty smart. Is there a positive side to this whole issue of cursing?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Swearing is honest. It is an honest expression of feeling. It's tremendously cathartic. People feel a sense of release of these negative emotions.
Right.
And it reminds us that we have a kind of common humanity. We all feel frustrated. We all feel exasperated. We all feel angry at times. And it doesn't matter whether you have a high school education or a PhD.
That's true.
The feelings are human.
Right. Interesting subject, I know. And I'm glad you came by to talk about it. Come back again, all right?
Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, Rebecca Connor.